What if everything you've been told about success is wrong? What if the very trait you've been taught to suppress is actually your greatest superpower? In a world that rewards the loud and boisterous, millions are living a lie, forcing themselves into a mold that drains their energy and stifles their creativity. But what if there was another way? What if the quiet ones among us are the most powerful of all? Stay tuned to discover the one biological difference that changes everything. Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. Book summary, key takeaways, and infographic. Life gets busy. Has quiet been on your reading list? Learn the key insights now. Introduction. In a world that can't stop talking, where does that leave the quiet ones? Have you ever felt that your reserved nature is a disadvantage in a society that seems to reward the loudest voices? Susan Cain's groundbreaking book, Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking, is a powerful validation for the 1/3 to 1/2 of the population who are introverts. Cain argues that modern Western society dramatically misunderstands and undervalues introverts, leading to a colossal waste of talent and potential. This summary will dive deep into the science, stories, and strategies behind Cain's quiet revolution, empowering you to understand your own temperament and harness the power of quiet. About Susan Cain. Susan Cain is a former corporate lawyer and negotiations consultant who left her career to pursue a quieter life of writing. A self-described introvert, Cain spent 7 years researching and writing quiet, drawing on a wide range of disciplines from psychology and neuroscience to business and evolutionary biology. Her authority is cemented by her deep research, her personal experience, and the overwhelming success of her work. Her 2012 TED Talk on the Power of Introverts is one of the most watched of all time, with over 40 million views, and she co-founded The Quiet Revolution, a mission-based company dedicated to unlocking the power of introverts. This book is for you if you often feel drained by social events and need time alone to recharge. You're a leader who prefers listening and deep thinking to charismatic speeches. You're a parent or teacher of a quiet child and want to help them thrive. You work in an open-plan office and find it difficult to concentrate. You're an extrovert who wants to better understand and collaborate with your introverted friends and colleagues. Story Shot 1. Recognize and overcome the extrovert ideal. Many of us feel a constant pressure to be more outgoing and sociable, a feeling that our quiet nature is a flaw to be fixed. This is the extrovert ideal, the pervasive belief that the ideal self is gregarious, alpha, and comfortable in the spotlight. Susan Cain reveals that this ideal is not a timeless truth, but a relatively modern invention. Before the 20th century, society valued a culture of character, where integrity and inner virtue were paramount. Think of Abraham Lincoln, a man revered for his quiet contemplation and strong moral compass. The emphasis was on who you were in private, not how well you could perform in public. However, the rise of industrialization and urbanization shifted the focus to a culture of personality, where charm and charisma became the keys to success. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, a classic of this era, taught people how to project a winning personality. The man of action replaced the man of contemplation as the cultural ideal. This shift has had a profound impact on our institutions. Schools are now designed to encourage group work and class participation, often at the expense of quiet, individual learning. Workplaces are dominated by open-plan offices and brainstorming sessions, where the loudest voices often drown out the most thoughtful ones. As Cain points out, there's zero correlation between being the best talker and having the best ideas. This bias against introversion is not just a matter of personal preference, it's a systemic issue that leads to a massive waste of talent and creativity. To navigate this, we must first understand that this bias exists and is a cultural construct, not a personal failing. By recognizing the extrovert ideal, you can begin to consciously uncouple your self-worth from these societal expectations and appreciate the inherent strengths of your own temperament. The result is a newfound confidence in your quiet nature and the freedom to operate authentically. We live with a value system that I call the extrovert ideal, the omnipresent belief that the ideal self is gregarious, alpha, and comfortable in the spotlight. Susan Cain. Story shot 2. Understand your temperament is about stimulation, not shyness. It's a common misconception to equate introversion with shyness. The real problem is not a lack of social skills, but a fundamental misunderstanding of our own biology. Cain clarifies that the key difference between introverts and extroverts lies in how our nervous systems respond to stimulation. Introverts have a more reactive nervous system, making them more sensitive to their environment. Like a microphone with the gain turned up high, they feel overwhelmed by too much noise and social activity, needing quiet to recharge. Extroverts with a less reactive nervous system are the opposite. They crave stimulation to feel energized. To apply this insight, start observing your own energy levels in different environments. Notice what drains you and what recharges you. By doing this, you can design your life to honor your natural temperament, scheduling quiet time after social events or seeking out stimulation when you feel under-aroused. This leads to better energy management, reduced burnout, and a more sustainable lifestyle. Challenge. Without looking back, what is the core biological difference between introverts and extroverts? How might you redesign your upcoming week to better honor your natural need for stimulation or solitude? Story shot 3. Harness the power of solitude for creativity and deep work. In our hyper-collaborative world, we often face the problem of constant interruptions and the pressure to brainstorm in groups, which can stifle our best thinking. The solution, Cain argues, is to embrace solitude as a crucial ingredient for creativity and deep work. Many of the world's greatest breakthroughs, from scientific theories to artistic masterpieces, were born in solitude. This aligns with research on the importance of solitude for creativity, as detailed in an article from Positive Psychology. To apply this, you must intentionally carve out time for solitary work. This could mean blocking off deep work sessions in your calendar, finding a quiet space free from distractions, or simply communicating your need for uninterrupted time to your colleagues and family. The result is not only a higher quality of work, but also a greater sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. As Cain points out, there's zero correlation between being the best talker and having the best ideas. The secret to life is to put yourself in the right lighting. For some, it's a Broadway spotlight. For others, a lamp-lit desk. Susan Cain. Story shot 4. Embrace quiet leadership to foster innovation. The problem with our traditional view of leadership is that we often mistake charisma for competence, overlooking the immense value of introverted leaders. Cain presents compelling research showing that introverted leaders can be more effective than their extroverted counterparts, especially when leading proactive teams. The solution is to recognize and cultivate the unique strengths of quiet leaders, their ability to listen deeply, their inclination to prepare meticulously, and their focus on empowering others to shine. If you are an introverted leader, you can apply this by leaning into your natural strengths. Instead of trying to be a charismatic orator, focus on creating an environment where your team members feel heard and valued. The result is a more engaged and innovative team, where the best ideas rise to the top, regardless of who they come from. How might applying the principles of quiet leadership change your approach to your next team meeting? Comment on Spotify or our website. Story Shot 5. Nurture introverted children with the Orchid Hypothesis. Parents and educators often face the challenge of how to best support sensitive, quiet children, sometimes misinterpreting their temperament as shyness or anxiety. The Orchid Hypothesis provides a powerful framework for understanding these children. Cain introduces us to the work of Dr. Jerome Kagan, a developmental psychologist who studied temperament in infants. He found that about 20% of infants are high reactive. These babies react more strongly to new sights and sounds, and they are more likely to grow up to be introverts. The Orchid Hypothesis suggests that high reactive children, the orchids, are more sensitive to their environment, for better or for worse. In a negative or unsupportive environment, they may struggle with anxiety and other problems, but in a positive, nurturing one, they can flourish and even surpass their more resilient peers, the dandelions, who are more resilient and can thrive in almost any environment. To apply this, parents and teachers must create a safe and supportive environment that respects the child's temperament. This means gently encouraging them to try new things without pushing too hard, understanding their need for downtime, and celebrating their sensitivity as a strength. It means not forcing a shy child to be the center of attention, but rather providing opportunities for them to shine in ways that feel comfortable. The result is a confident, compassionate, and creative child who feels understood and valued for who they are. Story Shot 6. Stretch your personality with free trait theory, but honor your true self. Many introverts face the problem of needing to act like an extrovert to succeed in their careers or personal lives, which can be draining and feel inauthentic. You might need to give a big presentation, attend a networking event, or be more social for the sake of your career or relationships. Professor Brian Little's free trait theory offers a solution. It posits that while our core traits are relatively fixed, we can act out of character for a cause we care about. An introvert can give a passionate presentation or network effectively if it serves a core personal goal. The key is that you are doing it in service of your core personal values. This makes the out-of-character behavior feel more authentic and manageable. However, this stretching comes at a cost. Acting out of character, especially for prolonged periods, can be draining and stressful. That's why it's crucial to build in restorative niches, pockets of time and space where you can return to your true self and recharge. For an introvert who has just given a big presentation, this might be finding a quiet corner to decompress, listening to music on the way home, or spending the evening alone with a good book. The application is to identify the situations where you need to stretch and to do so with purpose. By strategically using free traits and building restorative niches into your life, you can be effective in an extroverted world without burning out. The result is the ability to be effective in a wider range of situations while creating a sustainable balance between your public and private self. Spend your free time the way you like, not the way you think you're supposed to. Susan Cain. Mental models from quiet. 1. The stimulation filter. Description. This model encourages you to evaluate situations and environments based on their level of stimulation. Instead of seeing events as simply good or bad, you can view them through the lens of whether they are high stimulation or low stimulation. Application beyond social events. Apply this to your work environment. Is your desk in a high-traffic, high-stimulation area? If so, and you're an introvert, this could be draining your energy. You can also use this filter when choosing a vacation. A bustling city is a high-stimulation choice, while a cabin in the woods is a low-stimulation one. 2. The restorative niche framework. Description. This model views your energy as a finite resource that is depleted by acting out of character. A restorative niche is any activity or space that allows you to recharge and return to your natural temperament. Application beyond introversion. This framework is useful for anyone who has to perform in a role that doesn't perfectly align with their personality. A highly creative person in a very structured job could use a restorative niche of painting or writing on the weekends. A highly analytical person in a sales role could have a restorative niche of playing chess or solving complex puzzles. Implementation Guide. Today, 5-minute action. Identify one restorative niche you can use to recharge. It could be a quiet room, a favorite playlist, or a short walk alone. Schedule 15 minutes in your calendar for it today. This week, 15-minute action. Conduct a stimulation audit of your typical week. On a piece of paper, list all your regular activities and label them as either high stimulation or low stimulation. Look for imbalances and identify one small change you can make. Ongoing practice. Before committing to any new social or professional obligation, ask yourself, where will I find my restorative niche after this? This simple question can help you build a more sustainable and balanced life. Final summary and review. Quiet. The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking is a paradigm-shifting book that has sparked a global conversation about the value of introversion. Susan Cain masterfully blends scientific research, compelling storytelling, and practical advice to create a work that is both enlightening and empowering. The book's core message is a powerful one. There is nothing wrong with being an introvert, and in fact, it is a source of immense strength. By understanding the biological basis of our temperament and the cultural bias against quiet, we can learn to honor our own nature and create a world where all personality types can thrive. Let's go over the key insights of quiet again. Recognize and overcome. The Extrovert Ideal. Our society's preference for extroversion is a cultural trend, not a universal truth. Understand your temperament. Introversion and extroversion are about our response to stimulation, not our social skills. Harness the power of solitude. Solitude is essential for creativity and deep work. Embrace quiet leadership. Introverted leaders have unique strengths that can foster innovation. Nurture introverted children. Sensitive children can flourish in the right environment. Stretch your personality, but honor your true self. We can act out of character for things we care about as long as we have time to recharge. Which one of these story shots would you put into practice? Tag us on social media and let us know. Rating. We rate this book 4.7 out of 5. Quiet is a deeply researched and beautifully written book that has the power to change lives. It offers a sense of validation and belonging to introverts and a new perspective to extroverts. While some of the advice may feel more geared towards a corporate environment, the underlying principles are universally applicable. It is a must-read for anyone who wants to understand themselves and the people around them better. That's a wrap on Quiet. But your journey doesn't have to end here. Did this summary spark something in you? Don't just listen, act. Unlock the full learning experience right now by downloading our free Story Shots app. You'll get instant access to the PDF, infographic, ad-free audiobook, and animated summary of Quiet. Join over 1 million users who are learning faster and smarter with Story Shots. We're featured by Apple, Google, TechCrunch, and The Guardian as a top learning app for a reason. Search for Story Shots in your app store. That's STORYSHOTS, and get started for free. And if you know an introvert whose power needs to be unleashed, do them a favor and share this episode right now. Tag us at Story Shots on social media with your biggest takeaway. We've scratched the surface here. If you don't already have Susan Cain's best-selling book on psychology and self-development, get the audiobook for free using the link in the description or the Story Shots app to learn the juicy details. Now go out there and embrace your quiet power. Related book summaries. If you enjoyed this summary of quiet, you might also like these other book summaries on story shots that explore personality, communication, and personal growth. Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erickson. Dive deeper into understanding different personality types and how to communicate effectively with each of them. If you've ever felt like you're surrounded by people who just don't get you, this book is a game changer. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. For introverts who are naturally drawn to deep thought and inner reflection, this book offers a powerful guide to living in the present moment and finding peace in a chaotic world. Grit by Angela Duckworth. Discover the power of passion and perseverance, traits that many introverts possess in abundance. Mindset by Carol Dweck. Learn how a growth mindset can help you embrace challenges and see your introversion as a source of strength.